Hey YouTube, how's it going? Nerdy Narwhal here, and I'm coming at you again today with another 1/12 scale Mythic Legions action figure review. Now, today I wanted to take a look at Thistlethorn, who's one of my favorites. I absolutely love the Mythic Legions goblins. I love how their goblins look. One of my favorite NPCs from a D&D campaign that me and my friends played was a goblin homebrew character who just ended up being awesome and really the only character that my party liked because the DM decided to make every other NPC in that game an absolute jerkwad. But anyways, Thistlethorn. Had to pick him up. Super cool figure, and I wanted to talk about him today on my channel. So he is on the Mythic Legions Goblin Buck, and I will show that off here in a second. But the paint scheme for this guy is very much like Ornn, who was a Mythic Legions 1.0 dwarf, Prince Ornn Silverhide, I think. Similar to that. And what I like about Thistlethorn is that the Four Horsemen sort of put a spin on this goblin character and made him a good guy goblin. Essentially, if you know much about goblins, they're generally not on the side of the angels. They're on the sides of themselves, and they're sort of bad dudes. But not Thistlethorn here. He is a part of Ilythia's brood, and a super inspired design. He's all fuzzy. He's a forest goblin, essentially, or something like that. I forget what his technical name is for his race. Anyways, what I'm going to do now is turn off the rotating display stand here and talk about the figure. So what Thistlethorn comes with is this really cool detachable double-bladed Darth Maul sword, pretty much. Let me detach it. It's on there tight. There we go. So he comes with this. You can pose him using it however you want, attached or not attached. I prefer to keep it attached just because I think that's how it looks the coolest. And I was watching a Shadowversity video, and generally when he's talking about what short characters would use in fantasy to make up for their lack of reach, they would use a lot of longer weapons, polearms and such. So I thought it worked out really good to give Thistlethorn this attached and long double scythe sword thing. He also comes with your standard Mythic Legions one-handed sword. I don't actually even have it pictured here. The same sword that we've all seen 101 times from this line. But what's cool is he also comes with the sword Horseman, which is kind of like this legendary sword. I'm not sure if there's much actual lore on it, but it's a really cool and inspired design with this crazy horse skull head, done up in blue this time to go with this character, and I dig it. I think it's a really cool blade for this character to come with. What I really like about Thistlethorn here is that he was kind of made as a foil to Snag, who at this point is probably in my top 3, easily, favorite Mythic Legions characters or figures to have ever been released. Snag is awesome. And this guy is basically like Snag's exact opposite. So where Snag is a goblin who, a goblin thief, kind of a rogue, this guy is a collector. So he's a collector and a keeper of knowledge, which I thought that was really cool, which is why he would come with, this ancient and powerful sword. He probably found it and he was collecting it and was keeping it safe. Whereas Snag just basically comes with a whole bunch of junk because he's a thief and he robs. So I thought this was a really cool lore foil for one of my all-time favorite Mythic Legions, Snag. But this guy has a lot of cool stuff in his own rights. So now I'm going to pop him off here, take that weapon out, and we will go through the articulation. Because he is a 2.0 goblin figure, essentially, he's on that goblin buck, and at 2.0, he comes with much smaller pauldrons, which is awesome because they do not hinder articulation quite as much. This body is a bit shorter than the dwarf buck that they use, and also quite a bit thinner. So even with the pauldrons on, I can get those arms all the way above his head. I can hinge and swivel at the elbow here, and the wrist, and there's a swivel right up there. The legs can still do all the crazy splits that you want them to do. Same swivel up here, same hinge and swivel at the knee, although it's super tight on mine, and really good ankle construction with the peg pointing up towards the toe, so you can get a lot of excellent pivot. The neck, quite a bit thinner than a lot of other Mythic Legions because it's part of the 2.0 figures, and it's on that ball, and you can get a ton of range with it. And with that range comes all sorts of emoting that you can basically do. Now I'm going to get my phone off of this and dive in for a closer look at some of the paint apps. That head is honestly some of the best work that I think we've seen paint-wise in Mythic Legions. And I know they get sort of a pass because it's a lot easier to nail non-humanoid likenesses with when it comes to paints than it is to get humanoid likenesses. So to use a 6-scale example, the older sideshow Star Wars figures hold up a lot better when they were based on aliens, like Kit Fisto. I can still pose him with my Hot Toy Star Wars figures for the most part because his paint apps weren't meant to be humanoid. He's an alien. So, same thing here. But even with that, I still think that they just got an exceptionally realistic fur paint going with it. The gradient from the whites to the grays to the browns is absolutely marvelous. When you get into this armor here, he has those standard elven pauldrons with all the details in there. The details aren't really too brought out by this paint scheme, but that's okay that they're a bit muted. This vibrant green definitely evokes that he lives in a forest somewhere. Coming down, you can see all the brown dirt patches that are all over this guy, and he looks really, really good. So I absolutely enjoy having Thistlethorn in the collection here. He also comes with a couple of the straps that you can wrap around his back to put him on. So maybe he's on the run from the Legion of Erythir, and he has the legendary sword Horseman with him. You can stick that on his back and then arm him and have him running through the forest trying to get to safety, what have you. I don't really use it. I actually think that in my headcanon lore, because of course I come up with headcanon lore for all of these Mythic Legions figures, he has already given the sword Horseman to a noble warrior who is more worthy of wielding it, and that is Otho. So Otho is posed with my sword Horseman right now. And he's basically out to collect and protect lore and knowledge, which is great. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap up my quick review of Thistlethorn from Mythic Legions. If I missed anything, please let me know. Get at me in the comments, or if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them to the best of my knowledge. Yeah, it's a really cool figure, and if you're on the fence about buying it, I would say absolutely do it. This guy, his unique sculpt, his unique look, I really do think that when he is all sold through, give it a year, give it another year, and he's going to be kind of a chase figure. He's going to be rare, sold out, and awful gosh darn expensive. So that's my prediction. Maybe I'm completely off base. If he's available cheaper 2 years from now, then, sorry. Don't say I told you so. But it's a great figure, and everyone who's had it in hand has gushed over it, absolutely. And if you have Snag, he is the perfect foil for that character in your display and on your shelves for the good guys. So anyways, guys, like I said, that's it. Stay happy, stay healthy, and keep on collecting. Bye-bye.